Hi everyone, this is Jim Kozak from the Davie Resource Group's IT Services Department. On this installment of the TreeKeeper 8 video tutorial series, we're going to continue our work with calls and work. And in this section, we're going to add a work record to a site, add work records to multiple sites, and add work records to a work order. We've already taken care of the preparations in the Administration Center, and so now we should be all set for setting up work records. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to say that I am going to be looking for a site at 922 Catlin Court. So I'm going to do a quick search for 922 Catlin Court. And I know that this tree needs to be inspected. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll bring up the site. I can go about this multiple ways. I can pin the site by left clicking on it or tapping on it. I can tap on the high-level call out and I can view the species information, the site information, the risk information. I can view the call and the work records. So I can see that no work records have been set up for this site. So I'm going to go ahead and add a work record. I have the ability to add this work record to a project, which I want to keep this in with all of my other inspections that I'm doing this year. So I'm going to choose the project 2017. I'm not going to add it to a work order yet, but the work type is going to be inspection. The priority for this work record will be medium. Work records will go in by default as the requested status. The requested date will be populated, and I'm going to go ahead and select a crew that's going to do this work, and I'm going to choose Inspector Jim, and I'm going to go ahead and put in comments. So I will go ahead and hit submit, and now I have a work record associated to that site. That is adding a work record to a site. Now, as I had said in my last video about adding multiple calls to sites, if I were driving this entire street and I noticed that basically all of the trees on this street had to be pruned, I could go about getting to this information in a couple of different ways. One is I could go back to my site screen and I could hit clear form, and I could put Catlin Court into the on street and hit search, and that's going to give me all of the trees on Catlin Court. Once I have all the trees on Catlin Court, I can bring up my site matches screen and I can see if there's calls associated to any of those sites. I can see if there's work associated to any of those sites. So I can see the work record that I just put in, and I can pin that site. I know that that's at the site that I just visited. I can look at the calls, so I can see, okay, at this address, a call came in, and I could go ahead and view that call. So I'll check that, and then I'll hit view call. So now I can view the call associated with that. So I can see that Deb Smith called in, and she says that the trees need to be pruned because she can't walk her dog. So that's kind of confirmation of what I'm seeing out in the field. I can also look at the call that where Jim Kozak called in, and Jim called to say that his tree needed to be trimmed. So what I could do here is I can bring up all of these sites, and I can see that there is a site here at 922 that already has a work record for an inspection. But I could actually go ahead and select all of the sites by putting a check mark in this box, which is going to select all 15 of my sites. And then I can use the menu right here at the top of the screen to add work records. So again, this is basically the same thing that we just did for creating the inspection for the one site. As a matter of fact, I'm going to cancel that because if I bring up my site matches screen, I actually want to deselect 922 because I know I already have an inspection work record there for that site. So now I'm going to go ahead and add work. I'll add work to these 14 sites simply by going through this one work record screen. And again, I'm going to type in inspections 2017. The work type is going to be inspection. The priority is going to be medium. It's going to go in as a requested work record with today's date. The crew that I'm going to use is going to be Inspector Jim. And then the comments. And I'll go ahead and hit submit. So now the system is telling me that work record data was successfully added to 14 sites. So now if I look at my call screen, I can see the calls that have come in. If I look at my work screen, I can see the 15 matching work records. And so finally, if I wanted to group these work records together, I could group them together onto a work order. As you can see, there's no work orders here currently, and there's no work orders listed in the work order column. By selecting all of these work records, I can add those to a work order. So I can select an existing active work order, or I can create a new work order. I'm going to select an active work order from the list, and I want this one to be on the work order called Inspections for August. And I'll go ahead and hit submit. So now you can see that those work records are all grouped on the work order Inspections August. The convenience of this is that whenever I go into search for my work records, I could find these work records really easily by doing a search for work records, scheduled work or requested work records assigned to Inspector Jim, requested on today's date. An easier way to do that would be to pick the work order name, Inspections August, and hit search, and that's going to bring up all of the sites that match that criteria. So you can see I've got those 15 matching work records. So that is a quick tutorial on adding a work record to a site and adding work records to multiple sites. Stay tuned for the next TreeKeeper video tutorial. Thanks for watching.